So these are also verses that are used in what are called the Vandeham prayers. So Madhya Lila, chapter 1, text 5. Sriman Rasarasaram Bhibam Shivata Tatastida Karshan Venu Sanair Gopir Gopinata Shriyastunaha. So I'll explain that verse. That's Madhya Lila, chapter 1, text 5. So Sriman is, of course, it's used very commonly now, but here, taken in the highest sense, Sriman, one who possesses Sri. In Sanskrit, the suffix man is the same as van. It's the masculine one who possesses, and the feminine is vati, not mati. So it's Sri Mati, not Srimati, and all those other painful pronunciations. So Sriman, one who possesses Sri, beauty, opulence, or Prabhupada translates here the most beautiful form. So Sriman Rasa, Rasa with a long A means the dance of Rasa. When it has a long A in the first syllable, or in general, when it is lengthened, it means something which relates to that. For example, from Kunti, if you lengthen the first vowel in the first syllable, do a few other things, you get Konteya. Or from Prita, you get Partha. So in Sanskrit, you lengthen the vowel, and that. So here you have rasa, means actually taste or flavor, but then you lengthen the first vowel rasa, and it means that related to rasa. So here it means the rasa dance and rasa arambhi. So aramb in Sanskrit means to initiate, to begin something, and so one who initiated the dance of rasa. So the rasa, which is or actually literally what it means is who initiated the taste, the rasa of the rasa dance. In other words, initiated the rasa of the dance of rasa. So literally is what it means. Sriman rasa rasadam bi bangshivata. And this is where it happened at Bangshivata. Vata means like a grove, and Vangsha means flute. Vangsha means bamboo. That's why the word Vangsha also means dynasty, as in Yaru Vangsha. Because if you look at the bamboo, it has one section, then a knot, then another section. So because a dynasty is a series of descendants, so Vangsha means bamboo and also dynasty. Sanskrit's a very clever language. And it's interesting how if you look at all the images, they use natural images because they were surrounded by nature. They were living in nature. They don't use capitalist metaphors like, well, that's the bottom line, and see if you can cash that in. Or, I mean, we have all kinds of capitalist metaphors, isn't it? And so instead of having capitalist metaphors of bottom lines and things like that, they actually had natural metaphors because they were surrounded by nature, not by shopping malls. So, so Vangshi Vata, so in the grove where Vangshi is Krishna who plays the Vangsha, plays the flute. Or no, actually it means the flute made of bamboo, like Vangshi Dhara. Vangshi Dhara, Dhara means holding, Chakra Dhara, holding the chakra, Gada Dhara, holding the club, and so on. And so Vangshi Dhara means holding the flute made of bamboo. So Vangshi Vata Tata Stitaha. So it's very beautiful composition because you have Vata with that retroflex T, and then Tata with this retroflex T. So on the bank, so Prabhupada translates Tata on the bank of Jamuna. Yeah, Tata means the bank, and Vata means the grove. Stita, situated. So Krishna was standing there on the bank of the Jamuna in the celebrated place called Vangshi Vata, which is the grove where he played his flute. So Karshan, this is very interesting because Karshan is a present participle, which is from the same root as you get the word Krishna. So Krishna means all attractive. Karshan means attracting. Simple present participle Karshan. So Karshan, Venu Swanair, by the sounds of his Venu, by the sounds of his flute, he was attracting the gopis. Karshan Gopir. He was attracting the gopis, Venu Swanayar, by the sounds of his flute. So Gopinatha, the protector of the gopis, Shriye Stunaha. Literally, may he be for us, may he be for our good fortune. Anyway, I won't go into all of the grammar, but may he be for our good fortune is literally what it means. And Prabhupada translated, be merciful upon us. So, Nata, I've explained many times, Nata doesn't, it means here the master of the gopi, but Nata specifically means a guardian, someone who's a master in the sense the person that protects you. Just like in Sanskrit, it's common to say that someone had no one to protect them, they were sort of helpless. You find the word anata. Anata means someone that has no protector, someone that has no guardian. And of course, Jagannatha means that Krishna's a guardian of the universe. It sounds like a modern thing, Guardians of the Universe. Isn't that some kind of movie?
Yeah, I'm speaking from the galaxy as well.
Yeah, but that's literally what Jagannatha means, guardian of the universe. So, Sriman Rasa Rasaram Bhi Vangshiva Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Swanayar Gopir Gopinath Sriyestunaha. So apparently it's composed by Krishnadas, unless he's quoting it from Rupa or someone else. So Prabhupada's translation, may Gopinath Ji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute, and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of the Jamuna Bangshibata, be merciful upon us. So Jaya Jaya Goda Chandra, Jaya Jaya the golden moon, Goda Chandra. It's interesting because India is a hot country. It has a lot of heat there. And so in India, shade is like a very positive thing, like the shade of the lotus feet. Whereas in Northern Europe, which is or cold, shade or shadows is kind of a dark thing. Because if like in England, let's say you actually get a sunny day, then if suddenly there's shadows or shade and blocking the sunlight, that's not a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in a hot country, shade is very good. So it's interesting. You see, in Northern Europe, shadows, shade, sort of a spooky image, whereas in India, it's a very positive image, the shade of your feet and so on. Or Chandra. Chandra is a very positive thing because when the moon comes out, it means usually the sun is set. And so the sun is seen like the silvery moon as sort of cooling. And so it's a welcome thing that the heat of the day is gone. So Chandra is used, plus it's silver, it's very beautiful. So whereas the sun, you can't look at the sun. It's too hot, it's too bright. But you can look at the moon. And so the moon is silvery, you can look at it, and it's so it has really this very positive image in India of a cooling relief silvery moon that you can actually look at. So Gora Chandra, Krishna Chandra, Nitai Chand. Chand is just Bengali Chandra. Gora Chand, Nitai Chand. So it's interesting how this word moon is used in a very positive way. Little, what do they call it? Philology there. So, Jaya Jaya Gora Chandra Jaya Kripa Sindhu, of course, which means the ocean of mercy. Jaya Jaya Sachi Sutta, the son of Sachi. Jaya Dina Bandhu, the friend of the fallen or the friend of those who are suffering. So Prabhupada says, all glories unto Sri Goda Hari, who is an ocean of mercy. So you can see Prabhupada's ecstasy here because the verse actually says Gora Chandra. But Prabhupada says Goda Hari, which is, it's not that he didn't see what it says, it's sort of an ecstatic utterance. All glories unto Sri Gaura Hari, who is an ocean of mercy. All glories unto you, the son of Sachi Devi, for you are the only friend of all fallen souls. Jaya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Srivasadi, Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda. So you can understand that Adi in Sanskrit means original or the first of something, as in Adi Purusha. But therefore, in Sanskrit, that's also, it's the word etc. So, for example, here, Srivas Adi means a well-known group whose first member is Srivas. Or like, for example, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam or Vedanta, Janmadhyasya, Janmadi. So Janma, birth, is the first of a very well-known set of words, which namely birth, maintenance, and destruction. So if you say Janmadi, it means birth, etc., in the case where everyone knows what the set is. So that's how the word Adi is used. So here we have Srivas Adi, Srivas, etc. So there's devotees headed by Srivas, which is interesting because Srivas was in, of course, Navadvip, and so it indicates the devotees of Navadvip. So Jaya Srivas Adi, Jaya Gaur, which is interesting because after this point, the Adi Leela, we've heard about Lord Chaitanya and Navadvip. Jaya Srivas Adi, Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. So you understand that. All glories unto Lord Nityananda and Advaita Prabhu, and all glories unto all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. So it's into the word Jaya, which is translated all glories to, literally means victory or triumph. And so, and in Sanskrit, Jaya is actually the second person imperative. Jaya, like be victorious. Anyway, so next verse. Purve kahilun adi lilar sutragan yaha bistari achen dasa brindavan. So purve, previously, and you notice the consonants when you do historical linguistics, the consonants are often more telling than the vowels. Vowels, like people that come to America from a different country, spend their whole life here, never get the vowels exactly right. So the consonants people get. So if you look at the consonants, you can see lineage, you can see how words are coming down. So if you look at Purva, the vowels are PRV, and if you look at previous, the vowels are PRV. Little linguistic detective work there. So Purve, previously, Kahilun, I have described Adi Lilar of Adi Lila, Sutragan, the synopsis. Sutra in Sanskrit literally means a thread. So just as Sergeant Friday said, just the facts, ma'am. So sutra, that's a TV show when I was a kid. Dragnet. So anyway, so sutra means just the thread of something. No embellishment, just the bare essence. And so Prabhupada translates here synopsis, which you can also see, actually, Sanskrit's like all pervading. So the word synopsis, you can see the Sanskrit influence. Because that means syn means together, like synthesis, the together thesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, or synergy, all the energies together. And opsis, like optic, so seeing everything together is a synopsis. And the prefix syn, which means together, like synthesis, synergy, etc. Of course, obviously the Sanskrit sam, sam, like Sankirtan. It's obvious, isn't it? So, Purve Kailun Adi Lilar Sutra Gan. So, Sutra Gan, Gun basically, it literally means a count or a group. Like the verb gun in Sanskrit means to count. So, Gana means like the whole count, like a group of something. And it's just basically a very common way that they make the plural in Bengali. Like Bhaktagan is just like saying the devotees, or Sutragan, the sutras. So it's just a way of making the plural in Bengali. So Adi Lilar Sutragan, so the sutras of Adi Lila, So in other words, what he's saying is that I've begun by giving you a summary of this Adi Leela, because now we're starting the Madhya Leela. So in starting the middle pastimes, and of course, obviously another Sanskrit, the English word middle from Sanskrit Madhya. Actually, Sanskrit's just like everywhere in English; it's all over the place. So I've given you a synopsis. I've given of the Adi Leela before we start the uh, Madhya Leela. Simple. So Adi Leela Sutra Gan Jaha Vistari Yachen. So Vistara in Sanskrit means to extend, to spread. And so here you have a Bengali sort of past tense, Vistari Yachen, just how you make past verbs in Bengali. So, of which I have Dasa Vrindavana, Vrindavana Dasa Vrindavan has elaborately explained it. So he's saying, I'm not going to go into this here because someone already did it. Vrindavan Das already explained it so elaborately. So therefore, I just gave the sutras. I gave the thread because Vrindavan Das explained it elaborately. So, Ataeva, therefore, Tar Ami Sutra Matra Koilum. Therefore, I did of that tar of that only only a sutra, only the thread. The word matra may be interested, getting more linguistics than you bargained for, but keep in mind there are no refunds. So matra also is in English. We still have matra in English, metric, and it comes from the Sanskrit root ma, which means to measure, even the English word measure. And so matra means the measure of something, and it's used as a suffix to mean only this much, not more, not less, just exactly that measure. As when Krishna tells Arjuna, nimitta matra bhava savyasachin, just be the instrument. So the word just, in other words, he's telling Arjuna, be nimitta, which means the instrument. Nimitta matra, be just that measure. Don't be more, don't be less. Just be the instrument. Nimitta matra. And now here we have this word, sutra matra, only the synopsis. So that's where the word matra comes from, which, as I said, we have in English, metric, meter, measure, meter, all that stuff. That's all from Sanskrit. So Ataiva Tarami Sutra Matra Koilun. I did this, I did just the sutra. Jay Kichu, whatever, Vishesha, Sutra Madhye Kohilun. And so and he says, whatever specifics were to be related have already been given in that synopsis. Sutra Madhye. So Madhye, we have in English, midst, it's all from the middle, like middle, midst. So in the midst of the sutra. By the way, sutra also came into English. Anyone know how it came into English, the word sutra? 10 points. Because sutra means thread, suture, or koser. So sutra, suture, a stitch. So sutra madhye, so in the middle of the suture, in the middle of the thread, I've given vishesha. So vishesha means here Prabhupada translates it specifics, whatever specifics I wanted to say, I've done it there in the synopsis. Ebe kahi shesha lilar mukya sutragan. Prabhur ashesha lila najai varnan. That's very interesting. So let's start with the second line. So of Prabhur means of the Prabhu, of the Lord, ashesha lila, whose pastimes are ashesha. Shesha means like the end of something or a limit. And so ashesha means unlimited, or that which has no end. And so it's interesting because he says shesha lila. Oh, let me read the translation. You'll see what's going on here. To describe the unlimited pastimes, ashesha lila, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not possible. But now I wish to relate the chief incidents, the Shesha Leela, because Shesha can also mean the chief. So he's kind of sort of a play on words. And give a synopsis of those pastimes occurring at the end. So he's going to give tell the chief incidents and give a synopsis at the end. Ebe kahi shesha lilar mukya sutra gan, prabhura shesha lila najaya varna. So it's very interesting because this is an academic work in a sense. I mean, Chaitanya Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is very scholarly work. There's a lot of Sanskrit quotations. So it's clear, I mean, just like in an academic work today, there's a large bibliography at the end. And so in this work, rather than give the bibliography, well, I mean, so it's interesting because Sri Krishnadas doesn't give a bibliography at the end because he assumes his readers know all these things, which means that he's speaking to a very learned audience. So in modern terms, Krishnadas Kaviraj is a scholar, a learned scholar, speaking to other scholars. And because other people are going to read it, he sort of, at some point, he says, sorry for all the Sanskrit, but, just get through it. And so he has a vast range of knowledge, almost you could say an encyclopedic knowledge of all kinds of Sanskrit literature, which he quotes throughout the text. And so he's really a great scholar. He's not simply a simple devotee trying to do something in his old age. I mean, he is that, but he's also a very significant scholar. And so I've said this many times before, but that won't stop me. That that's why the Bhaktivedanta Institute is so important. That's why this whole program to try to raise the educational level in ISKCON is so important, because we come from a very learned tradition. I mean, our tradition is, powerfully spiritual, but it's also powerfully academic. So it's not that if you look at the movement of Sri Chaitanya, it's not just that it was, there were a few scholars here and there. It was basically, of course, it was, they would go out in the street and get all the common people, millions of people to chant Hare Krishna. But at the same time, who the leaders were, beginning with Mahaprabhu himself. Lord Chaitanya was a great scholar. I mean, he's God, he knows everything. But still, in terms of his pastimes, in terms of the part he played, he came as a great scholar. And he proved that when he defeated the Keshav Kashmiri Pandit. Kashmiri just means where he's from, the Pandit from Kashmir, named Keshava. So Keshav Kashmiri Pandit, where Lord Chaitanya showed that he had completely, well, again, he's God, but he played the role of someone who had mastered poetics, composition, logic. He was the equivalent today of a very prominent scholar and a polymath, someone that actually has studied many different subjects, not just burrowed into one specialization, and so that one is guaranteed to be irrelevant to 99% of the world. So, I mean, if you look at Lord Chaitanya and his followers, on the one hand, they're practically the greatest scholars of their time. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all of them, all the six Goswamis were scholars. They all wrote learned books. Jiva Goswami, all of them. They all wrote distinguished books. They were all highly educated. Lord Chaitanya himself led the way. And then, sort of the half next generation, not even a full generation later, you have Krishnadas Kaviraj, who's just a great academic and a pure devotee. So that's our tradition. So what the Bhaktivedanta Institute is doing is not like, hey, let's do something innovative and let's have a little academic program in ISKCON. It's actually reconnecting with our tradition. And Lord Chaitanya would do street Sankirtan for the common people. So if we just approach the common people and don't reestablish the learned wing of Lord Chaitanya's movement, which consisted of the most important devotees, including Mahaprabhu himself, the six Goswamis and others, if we don't do that, then we just have, a street movement and deity worship. But where is the powerful learned preaching that actually is what established Lord Chaitanya's movement? If you look at these great acharyas, they all wrote books. They were all very learned, and they're the ones that actually spread the movement. They're the ones who actually established Lord Chaitanya's movement as a powerful spiritual movement. So where is that today? How have we preserved that? Or how are we reestablishing it? So I've made the point that the Bhaktivedanta Institute is not simply something that, oh, that's nice, we can preach to a few scientists who will, eventually die with no visible change in the world. We can just take some pictures and say that we had a famous scientist that came to a Hare Krishna program. And then what? Doesn't, as the cliche goes, doesn't move the needle. So what moved the needle would actually establish Lord Chaitanya's movement as a powerful movement, which it became. Even according to mundane historians, it actually changed India. It changed South Asia. It had real impact. One of the major impacts was that it reduced greatly what they call communal violence between Hindus and Muslims or between different economic classes. It actually had a measurable impact on the whole region. We are not having a measurable impact on the Western world. And so that's why the BI, the Bhaktivedanta Institute, is so important. It's not just some little specialty program, for a few people. It's actually, we have to change, because by raising the educational level in ISKCON, and I don't just mean everyone has to go back to college, but just raising the level of discourse, the level of preaching, as we say, the level of argumentation, by building powerful schools, having the best teachers, there's actually some chance that this will all work. Otherwise, basically, there's not, in my view, because there's a Yuga Dharma, and the Yuga Dharma is Sankirtan, but specifically in a particular cultural context. In other words, it's not just Sankirtan. It's Sankirtan within the context of a movement that is very learned, that produces the most powerful teachers and educators of their time. That was the social, cultural context in which Sankirtan was spread. And so if we think we can just go on the street and dance around and completely ignore the necessary socio-cultural context, it doesn't work. Just saying. So, we'll stop there. Any questions? Yes.
What's the difference between Kripa Sindhu and Karuna Sindhu?
No, nothing, just synonyms. Kripa, thank you for emphasizing the second syllable. You get extra points for that. Karuna Sindhu. Kripa Sindhu and Karuna Sindhu. So, Glani, any comments? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishnadas Kaviraj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.
Free to charge.
Jai.
Drinking.